Hi, it's Gray Spark here, and we're talking about mastering the art of AI communication in this session, the power of prompting strategies that work. So let's get straight into it, shall we? We'll go into the first slide. So welcome to our session about mastering AI communication. If you've used ChatGPT before, 4.0 for example, and sometimes wondered why your results were a bit inconsistent, sometimes they were great, sometimes they weren't so great. This session will hopefully solve that mystery for you. And there we go, the slides are working. Okay. Now, the difference, it's what's called the communication gap. It's the difference between the average and exceptional ChatGPT 4.0, sorry, not 0, results isn't the tool itself. So the communication gap is not the tool itself, it's how you communicate with it. So today we'll transform you from someone who has decent results to someone who has exceptional, consistent results and achieve a professional quality output consistently. I think I said consistently twice there, sorry about that. So what we'll cover, I'll teach you the 3 core strategies for professional AI users rely on. The context sandwich method is one of them for comprehensive requests. The role play technique for expertise simulation, and the iterative refinement approach. Hopefully I don't have to say that too many times during this, for progressive improvement. Each strategy will be demonstrated with real examples showing the dramatic difference each approach has. So we'll go to the next slide. So you've got to know, how does ChatGPT 4.0 interpret words? Before we dive into specific techniques, you need to understand how ChatGPT processes your requests. Think of it as an extremely capable assistant who can do almost anything but needs clear direction to deliver exactly what you want. So ChatGPT, and for those who are using this through AI for business, it is under the balanced model is where ChatGPT 4.0 is. Anyway, so you need explicit instructions, you need context clues, that's what they refer to it as. This is what you imply about the situation. Format indicators, this is how you want the response to be structured. Tone markers, that's, is it formal, is it casual, is it technical, is it creative, and so forth. So the specificity principle, hopefully I don't have to say that too many times either. The most important principle in AI communication is the specificity. ChatGPT 4.0 performs dramatically better when specific instructions are given rather than general instructions. This isn't just about being detailed, this is about strategically being specific in a way that guides the AI towards your desired outcome. Let me show you the difference. So let me go into the app. So here's the app for those who use, this is ChatGPT 4.0 as it's seen from the AI for Business Pro app. So I'll just get the text so I'm not wasting time typing it, because I'm not the fastest typer. So we'll go up the top here for those who use this app, and we'll go to balanced. Like I said, that is ChatGPT 4.0. Okay, we're in there. So let's do something that's not so specific. Let's just say, write about productivity. Now that's a very broad and general statement, and I'm unsure what sort of answer we'll get from this, to be honest. So there's our answer. Very smart and not hard. Yeah, it's very broad. It's very generic. It's quite long. Because we didn't really specify what we wanted. So I won't read all of that, but you can pause the video, have a bit of a look, and you can try it yourself as well. Just put in that prompt as well. You won't get the exact same thing I got, but you'll get something very similar. Now, let's get specific. Write a 300-word article that for busy professionals explaining the evidence-based productivity techniques they can implement in under 10 minutes each. Use conversational but authoritative tone, include specific examples, and focus on techniques that work in open office environments. So that's very specific. So we should get a much better answer here. And I'll scroll down so we can see the answer. See, it's given us 3 quick productivity hacks. And it's been very specific. It tells you exactly about each one. And yeah, it's not general at all. It's aimed at exactly what we asked for. So yeah. So let's go back to the slides. So the next thing we're going to talk about is context dependency factor. This is where ChatGPT 4o's responses improve dramatically when you provide context. It's not just about what you want, it's about understanding why you want it, who it's for, and how it's going to be used. This context allows the AI to make appropriate choices about the tone, complexity, examples, and emphasis of the thing that it shows you. So there's a context sandwich structure. So in your prompts there's 3 layers. Let's go with the bread example. So the top bread is the context and background information. The filling is the specific request and requirements. And the bottom bread is the success criteria and constraints that you want on the actual output. This structure ensures that ChatGPT has all the information it needs to deliver a targeted result. So let's have a look at the next slide. I think this gives us a template. Yes, it does. Oh no, that's the bread again. It's splitting the template into the bread analogy. Okay, yep, cool. So you've got the top bread, and it's going, I'm a role working on project. My goal is objective. So that's the context and background information. Then we go to the filler or filling, which is specific requests and requirements. So that's I need task for audience who characteristics. Output should be of this tone and this length. And then we've got the bottom bread, which is the success criteria and constraints, which in this case is focus on whatever your priorities are, while avoiding the pitfalls, success means, and then give the criteria. So this is just a bit of a template. This is not what you'd actually type in directly. But let's do a live demonstration of that particular method. I will copy and paste the entire thing. If my mouse will let me, there we go. Okay, so let's go back into the app. And we shall paste. Here is a very long version of that with all the information. So I'm a small business owner who runs a local bakery specializing in custom wedding cakes. So yeah, we've followed the template there. My goal is to increase bookings for upcoming wedding season. I need to write an email newsletter, for engaged couples who are planning weddings in the next 6 to 12 months in advance and are looking for unique personalized options. The newsletter should be warm, professional, personal but professional. Approximately 400 words. Focus on customization process, quality ingredients while avoiding overly sales-heavy language. Success means recipients feel confident about our ability to create their dream wedding cake and want to schedule a consultation. So we've covered all the bases there of the top bread filling and bottom bread example that we had. The sandwich, I should probably just call it the sandwich template. So we'll run that. As you can see here, because it's been given context, it's writing it as a letter. It's giving it a header, it's giving it a subject line, because we're very specific on what we wanted. And it's emphasized things like personal design process, highest quality ingredients, stress-free planning, pretty much all the things that the template that we filled in above this we're asking for. And it's even saying are you planning 6 to 12 months ahead. So it's gone right down to everything we asked for, and even has a nice little PS at the bottom, so it's a little bit more personal, like we also asked. So why does this work? Well, let's go back to the slides. Oh, that's a live demonstration. Yep, I've got to remember that I've put those in there. Okay, why does this work? It's the context sandwich method works because it provides comprehensive background without overwhelming. It clearly defines success criteria. It anticipates and addresses potential misunderstandings. It guides tone and approach naturally. And it helps ChatGPT prioritize what matters most. So it's a very handy method to use. And there's variations. I'll just go to the next slide so we can see them. There's the academic version, which includes a little bit of like an assignment requirements and grading criteria. There's the business version, which has a little bit more specify what stakeholders and the business objectives are. Creative will have more of a define the style preferences and the creative constraints. And technical sandwiches, we'll call it, shall we? Includes skill level of audience and implementation requirements. So, which makes sense. You think about it, technical, you got to be, who are you communicating to? Other technical people, or are you trying to, communicate with the person on the street? And can you really be using all that technical jargon with them? So this brings us to the next method. Okay, my slides aren't working. There we go. And this is the role-playing technique. Now, this slide is talking about the first part of it, which is the power of persona. The role-play technique leverages ChatGPT's ability to adopt a specific persona and experience levels. By explicitly defining the role, it should assume you access different knowledge patterns and communication styles from within its system. So effectively, role-playing prompts follow the structure. Act as, now this is a very common one as well, you'll probably see this a lot, this particular framework. Act as specific role with certain amount of experience level, experience in the field of such and such. You are helping, and then the audience type, with a specific challenge. Additional context about the role's specific perspective or approach you throw in there as well, and then you end with a please specific request. So you give it the request at the end there. Now, you choose your roles to align with your needs. So for creativity, you would say like creative director, award-winning copywriter, best-selling author. For analysis, you'd have like management consultant, data analysis, research scientist. For communication, you have public relations expert, corporate trainer, diplomatic advisor. You've got to choose these for exactly what you're doing. And of course, for the technical topics, you'd have something like a senior engineer or a university professor. Just to give you some ideas on what it is you'd actually be asking for. So you've got to think about that. Really, when you're doing these, you really need to think about what exactly is the best role, the best type of person, and the best type of experience that would be needed to get the output that you really want. And when you specify that, you will be surprised at how much ChatGPT can actually step into those shoes and give you data and results that are in line with what you've asked for. So we're doing a live demonstration. So we've got the standard request. So let's have a look what that does. I'll just copy it so I'm not wasting our time typing it. So it's help me write project proposal for implementing a new customer service system. Very, very vague. And so it's obvious, anyone who's been watching any of these videos is we're going to get very vague output. And I have no idea why it's doing that. Okay. Yeah, so it's given a proposal, and if you look at this, it doesn't know what the proposal's about, so it's just kind of making some assumptions, some very general assumptions, and yeah, so this is pretty useless at the end of the day, unless you happen to have an extremely generic project that you're doing. This would be no help to you at all. So let's put something a little bit more specific in there, using the hang on, I'll just copy and paste this, using the role-playing technique. So not only are we going to be more specific about what we want, we're going to be specific about the type of person who's writing it, creating it, and which will also change the way the output comes out, which makes sense. If you ask John to do something and you ask Peter to do something, you're going to get different results if they have different experiences. So in this case, it's act as a senior management consultant who specializes in customer service transformation projects. You have 15 years experience helping mid-sized companies improve their customer experience while managing change resistance. You're known for creating compelling business cases that address both technical requirements and human factors. Please help me write a project proposal for implementing a customer service system that will convince skeptical executives who are concerned about costs and disruption. So it goes right into detail, and as you can see there, the actual task is not even the majority of the prompt. It's getting the AI to realize what type of prompt and what type of information we want from that. I don't know why the screen is shuddering like that. I apologize if that's getting on your nerves or anything. It could just be where my screen is sitting. So yeah, a lot longer response for one, but why this matters, case for change. It refers to certain things from its knowledge base, and it's you can see here, if you just at a quick glance, you can see it's targeting those concerns that were brought up, and it's obviously written by someone who knows what they're doing, which is why you ask for that particular person to be writing it. And ChatGPT and other AIs are surprisingly good at being able to do this, but they are fed with a lot of data in the first place. So let's go back to the slides. Advanced role-play techniques. Okay, so you can have multiple perspectives. I've written some prompts like this, where first respond as a CFO, for example, concerned about costs, then respond as the customer service manager, focused on team efficiency. You can have very specific expertise, act as a cyber security expert who specializes in small business protection and speaks to non-technical audiences. So you can drill right in there, and you can even say what sort of industry knowledge they have. Act as a retail industry analysis who understands both traditional and e-commerce challenges. Sorry about that. Yeah, so you can really drill into these. If you just got to think about what it is you want as your output, and be specific about the roles and experience and perspective of the person. Include relevant experience levels and specialization. So you really drill in there because it does matter. Define the roles relationship to the audience. That's also very important as well. And set expectations about the role's communication style. Use roles that will naturally have knowledge about what you need. So don't go out on strange tangents that make no sense to what you are. You think about. So at the end of the day, you got to think about what it is that you're trying to achieve, and who is the right person to achieve what you're trying to do. And then that is the person you tell the AI to be. Okay, so that's that strategy. So the next strategy is conversation as a tool. This is the iterative refinement approach. So hopefully it won't ask me to say that too many times. The iterative refinement approach treats ChatGPT as conversations as collaborative work sessions instead of expecting perfection in the first response. You systematically improve the outputs through targeted follow-up requests. So this is a bit of a different style, but you can get some really good outputs at the end of this process. So you can actually, hang on, let me go to the next slide. You can actually have a start with a broad request, but a solid broad request that's exactly what you're about. And then on the initial output, review the response and then refine it with a more targeted prompt. And you can continue to do this multiple times. And the progressive enhancement of each output, and you can also there's a progressive enhancement to each prompt as you go through it, and you can also go to alternative exploration, where you can request different approaches if needed, and you can see. So you don't have to know everything that's going on. You can sort of get responses, get a feel for the information you're getting from the AI, and then refine it as you go. Refinement categories. So there is, these pictures didn't come through as well as I would have hoped, so I will read them out. Tone adjustment. Make this more formal, casual, persuasive, salesy, non-salesy. You get the picture. Length modification. This is where you can say expand with more examples, condense to more of a summary. So you just it's pretty much like working with a ball of clay. You're refining it as you go. Each movement you make makes you realize you need to make another movement. Audience adaptation. So rewrite this for executives, or rewrite this for technical teams, or rewrite this for the general public. When you feel that it's to something that you don't want, and you tell it to be what you do want. Format changes. Convert to bullet points. Convert to paragraphs. Put it in a table format. So this is pretty general stuff. A lot of people don't realize that they can do that to the AI and actually say these things. Emphasize the cost benefits. So this is focus shifts, sorry, and I'll focus more on the implementation than the theory. So this is a very common one when people are starting out as well. And it's a mistake a lot of people make when they put one prompt in and don't get what they want and think that AI is stupid. When all they needed to do was a little bit of iterative refinement approach. So where are we up to? Live demonstration. So we'll go back over to the prompt. And copy. Okay, so we start with something broad. Write the summary of the benefits of remote work for a company newsletter. Hopefully this won't do crazy things with the screen. There. So it's written in a newsletter. So we can have a bit of a look at that. And so what would our first refinement be? Let's say, I'll just copy this. Let's say we go, you can actually say this amuses some people. You can actually say, this is good, but make it more specific to our tech company culture and include statistics to support the points. So you can say it's good. You can say well done. You can say there's a lot of argument about saying please and thank you, which is quite amusing actually. Some say it gets better results, some say it gets worse results, and some say it makes no difference. But the common joke amongst people that I know is when the machines take over, they'll remember those of us who were polite. So see, now it's a bit more technical after that refinement. So I'm just copying and pasting the next refinement. I should probably put these in text files so it's easier. I'll remember that for next time. So this we're going perfect. Now create a version that's more conversational and includes calls to action for employees to share their remote work tips. So now you could actually save the first one that you've done, the output just before this, if you liked it, because the person who wrote this apparently said it was perfect. And you could send that to the people that it makes sense to send that version to, and then you can make this version. And this is where the iterative method actually comes in handy, because now we can ask it, it's writing the answers quicker than I can scroll. So it's a bit more conversational this time, like we asked, and it's got calls to actions for employees to share their stories. So it's done what we've asked, and it's still the same essence of the original output, but it's now tailored to what we want it to do. So let's go back to the slides after that little example. And we've got our advanced refinement techniques. So you've got A/B testing. Give me 3 different versions of this email. Subject line, sorry, is the example that we're doing here. So that's a form of A/B testing. It gives you 3 versions rather than just one, and then you can pick which one you want, or you can actually use it to actually do A/B testing itself, where you actually test it on the public. But this can also just mean that you're testing it on yourself. So you get the 3 responses and you pick the one that you like the most. Perspective shifts. Now write this from the customer's point of view, which we did before up there with the technical version. And then you got constraint adding, which is something like do this again but keep it under 100 words and avoid technical jargon. So and then style matching. Rewrite this to match the tone of, and then you give it an example. So that's also a good way to do it. So these are advanced techniques, and as you can probably tell, they're not that advanced. So anyone can do this, and you can get amazing outputs by applying all these different techniques. We'll go to the next slide. Oh, and then there's the advanced technique, which is combining these strategies. Like start with a context sandwich for a comprehensive background, and then add a role-playing play to the expertise and perspective, and then use iteration refinement to get it to get it to perfection. An example of this is I'm a startup founder preparing for investor meetings. As a venture capital advisor, roleplay, help me create compelling pitch deck, a compelling pitch deck outline. So that's the initial request. Then we'll refine it based on specific investor concerns. It's a hard example to give in just one example, but as you get used to these, it becomes very easy to switch and combine and so forth. And these are the so-called power user tips. Chain of thought. Walk me through your reasoning for this recommendation. That's a very, very powerful thing to add to a prompt. For lack of a better word, you're making the AI think about why it did what it did. It also gives you a perfect opportunity to check its reasoning, which can help you check the quality of the output. If you don't agree with the reasoning, then there's a good chance there's something wrong inside the output as well. Constraint testing would be something like what would change if were different. Put something in there and see what comes back. So power users are pretty much what this is referring to as people who are testing, checking, for lack of a better term, I'd say quality control, to see why it's done what it's done. This not only helps you figure out if that particular output is good, it helps you learn how to communicate better with the AI. Which brings us to point 3, which is quality checking. So that's something like, what is the potential weaknesses of this approach? So you actually ask the AI to check the quality of the AI's output. Sounds silly, but it's actually very powerful. And then there's the alternative generation. What are 3 completely different ways to approach this problem? So it's like a you can see all the different perspectives, and it helps you, not just the AI. So it helps not with the output, it also helps you realize the different angles that this particular output or problem or situation has. Sort of like brainstorming, I guess. So we'll go. So today we have covered 3 strategies. 3. I don't know why I'm holding up one finger. That will transform your ChatGPT 4.0 results, or any AI for that matter. These don't just work in ChatGPT. So there's the context sandwich method for comprehensive targeted requests. There's the role-playing technique for accessing specific expertise and perspectives. And then there's the iterative refinement approach, which is a progressive improvement of output through conversation. You can use these together. You can use all three of them together. You can just use two of them together. Like I always tell the other students, is playing with AI is how you learn it. Learning these techniques is great, but getting in there and actually using it and experimenting will give you that just that working knowledge of how all these things work together. So let's have a look. And so that's exactly what this is saying. Practice each strategy individually with low stake tasks. So don't go straight into a very important task for work and use it as an example. Use low tasks, assess what it's done, assess that it's come out with the answers you want. You're not assessing the AI at the end of the day, you're assessing your ability to prompt the AI. Always remember that. Combine strategies as you become more comfortable. Build a library of effective prompts. This is something that I learned a bit late, so I've lost a lot of really good prompts because I didn't record them. Because you will find that you come back to ones that you've written really well. So yeah, build a library. And remember that great AI communication is a skill that improves with practice. The difference between good and exceptional AI results lies in how you communicate. These strategies give you the tools to consistently achieve professional quality outputs that save time and enhance your work quality. So, like one of my teachers actually said to me, if you prompt an AI and you don't get the results you wanted, you don't blame the AI, you ask yourself, what can I change my prompt to get the right answer? You've got to take ownership of your prompts. They are 9 times out of 10 the reason you're not getting the data or the response that you need is because you haven't given the AI the prompt that it needs. So that's very important to remember. And that's the last slide. So I will go back to me. So yeah, probably going to be a running theme in all these videos, but practice, practice, practice. An experiment with low stake or even non-existent stake. That's what I did. I made up scenarios and would just put them in to see what would come out. And then I'd change my prompt to see what would come out. Another little tip, most AIs have conversational memory. What this means is if you prompt something and then 6 or 7 prompts later you prompt something else and it thinks it's related to that prompt 5 or 6 prompts down the track that you said earlier, it will incorporate that data because it will think you're still talking about the same thing because you're in the same chat. So that's what it refers to when it's talking about being in a chat. And that's why a lot of AIs, like we'll show you this one, they all have their different ways of doing it, but this one just says new chat, big button over on the left there. So if you want to start something from fresh and you don't want it to take into account other things you've said, then you need to do a new chat all the time. I believe OpenAI interface actually has a temporary button where everything you type in is not related to the last thing you typed in. So that's a pretty cool function. Our app doesn't have that. So I think that brings me to the end of this one. Hope it helped, and keep on prompting. Enjoy. See ya.